Another method we could take elevation sketches and start to turn them into 3D objects is by drawing bringing our sketches in as elevations. So rather than drawing in a picture or perspective mode, we're actually going to go to a front viewport here, and then we're going to use the picture command. Find the same image and sort of unaccurately just draw it. And so now if we see the two modes, let's go move this over here. You can see that in the front view we have our elevations already in place. Now I'm going to go to the front view and I'm going to go to set my C-plane to the object. And I accidentally did that in the perspective, so I'm going to type C-plane and undo. And now I'm going to do that in the front view. So set C-plane to object. So now I'm drawing directly on this surface. Even if I draw, somewhere else, it's actually on that surface. And I'm going to maximize this, and let's just create that grid again. Copy it over. Copy it down. And now I'm going to use a command called split. So rather than the first method, which was deleting the elevations, I want to split these. So it's asking me for the object to split, which is the image. And it's asking me for the cutting object. I'm just going to inclusively select everything. And now I have individual elements, individual sketches. So I can take these over and manipulate them. So I'm going to take one of these sketches and make it the primary one I'm manipulating. If I want to keep that grid or all of the sketches together, I can move it and use all. I can go to a front view and I can see that this is what I want to create. I'm going to go into my front view and create a box. I'm going to draw essentially what the elevation looks like, and now in a 3D view I can give it a dimension. It doesn't have to be a cube, so you can give it sort of anything. And now I know that this sketch has basically 4 saw teeth, I guess, I'm not sure. And this is where digital sketching becomes really advantageous, because we can use commands and exact dimensions to work in our advantage. I'm going to go ahead and move this box. Let's go to a perspective mode here. And I know that I want to create 4 teeth, so I'm going to use a command called divide. Now it's asking me for a curve to divide. Well, solids and surfaces, you can also divide curves on their edges. And when you click an item, it will actually say that this is a surface edge. So I'm going to right click it. And now it's asking me for how many I want to divide. I want to divide it into 4 elements. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that has actually 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you have an extra, or n+1, for the number of points that you will get. So if I want to create these saw teeth, I can start drawing a line, but because I'm in a perspective mode, it's not going to draw it directly up unless I make it go vertical. So I can start drawing in a perspective mode, and now I can go back to my front view and I can actually give it a dimension. So you can type, let's say, 1.5 feet. We can scale this up, but this is just looking at it proportionally. And that looks a little bit too big. So I'm going to draw a line from my sketch. And this is called a construction line. And then I can delete that if I don't want it. But rather than taking this and copying it, and making 4 of these, I'm actually going to make this a solid first and then copy it. So I'm going to follow a just slightly different method here. I'm going to finish off this line. I'm going to select these items and use the join command. So now I have 3 curves. And now I'm going to use a planar surface command. I knew I was drawing all of that in the C-plane of the front view, so it created a surface from that. And now I'm going to use a command called extrude surface. So that surface is still there, but I have this new poly surface, which I'm going to copy over to each of these points. And essentially, I've turned this sketch into a 3D object. Now, if I wanted to create a different iteration of this, I could select all of it, copy it over, and say, well, what would that actually look like if I selected these items and I scaled them down a little bit? So rather than being so tall, they were a little bit more stout. Maybe that proportion looks a little bit better to me. So we can, see it in a front view. But it is in fact a 3D object.